Hey there, Pirate Monkey Crew, and welcome to yet another tutorial. This is in the same series as the other four. This one's a little bit different though today. Today we're going to be focusing on gold, and unfortunately I had some video go corrupt on me, and so the first little bit is cut off. That's also why I showed the steel part essentially first. It's a very similar process to the steel process, but we are starting with the Monument Creature Caster Rich Gold. And then what we did here is we used this Gore Grunta fur a couple of times already on top of that. We used a little bit of Agrax Earthshade, and I'm showing you the pure black here because what we're going to do is we're going to mix that pure black into the Agrax Earthshade, and we are going to really continue to pull out and accentuate all of the little areas that are separate elements and really pull out the contrast around the bolts, really just making sure that this thing is popping out. It's something that I found revisiting these washes and playing with these contrast paints is that if you stack up these layers like a ton of times, you start to get a really badass look. And what I'm doing here specifically, just to talk you through my mindset and my process, is I'm kind of doing this dabbing motion. You see I'm kind of doing this tap, tap, tap. And the reason why I'm doing that is when you lift up the brush, I'm kind of showing you here with a kind of a push-pull. If you push the paint and lift up, you get the most accumulation. It's the same if you do a dot. If you do a dot, it tends to place down a bit more paint in one area. And I'm doing that because I really want to make those areas dark and let the wash do some of the work for me in terms of a transition. So hope that makes sense. Just covering everywhere where I think that there's some kind of detail or shadow that should be pulled out. And then coming back in here just one more time. I think the mix that I'm using right now is probably about a 50-50 Agrax Earthshade and black. It's getting a bit darker. Again, what I'm trying to show you guys here is, especially when you're going for high tabletop up to display, it's really about doing it until it feels right. I don't know any other way to put that, and that's a skill that you have to refine over time. What I would say though, if you are painting this just for like tabletop, or even kind of like a mid-tier tabletop, is just wash it twice and then kind of hit all those darker, deeper areas a couple of times. All right, so here we have Vallejo Model Air Silver. We used this in the last video, if you remember. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix it about 50-50 with that Creature Caster Monument Rich Gold, which is just such a fantastic, I can't get over that color. It's so great, you guys. Go check them out if you haven't already. And we're gonna start to kind of do a little bit of edge highlighting, picking out these raised parts. And what it does is it takes it from being kind of like a goldish feeling material to a little bit more of a brassy material. I think that there's just there's such a contrast in terms of the brights and the lows that it stops feeling like more of a gold. If we wanted to make this more of a goldish kind of material, we'd want to add in like some kind of yellow ink or yellow pure pigment paint just to really give it that pop of saturation and color. But that's not what we're going for here. As you saw too, I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect painter. I make mistakes too sometimes. We kind of nicked the shield there where we put in all that hard work from painting the black. And I'm going to show you too how I fix those mistakes. Because whenever I paint something like this, I always have kind of a game plan going into it. Always have a game plan for fixing your mistakes. And, you know, if you're going through and kind of having to do something for an entire thing and you make a mistake early on like I did, spend that time, you know, kind of thinking about how to fix the mistake. But whatever you do, don't let mistakes hold you back or kind of impair, you know, what you're doing. I almost never stop to immediately fix a mistake unless it can be fixed. And when I'm going through and doing this, I don't kick my own ass, because there's really no point in belittling yourself or, giving yourself a hard time about something that you can fix. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about miniature paintings to some extent, is that like, if we make a mistake, it's okay. It's only paint. We can continue to work and overcome those mistakes. And that's what makes us better painters and people. I have a very, I don't know how it developed, but somehow I think if you do things long enough, you kind of start to build a philosophy around those things. And I mean, you guys also get to know a little bit about how I think and feel about these things too, which I enjoy sharing. I hope it helps out some of you guys. More than anything, make sure you're having fun. Just don't be too hard on yourselves. I have a really hard time when people are like way too hard on themselves about miniature painting. And it's like, you know what? You are doing a great job. You keep doing your thing. You're going to keep getting better, and don't sweat the small stuff. I've actually been trying to pick up some new creative skills, and it's it's fun and frustrating being like a beginner or a novice. But there's so much excitement there too, because you're learning new things every day, and like there's this gradual improvement. So you're improving all the time, even when you don't feel like it. And I'm giving you guys a bunch of motivational stuff at the end of this tutorial series. I gotta fill the air somehow when we're doing this edge highlighting, right? Not the most exciting thing, but I've had some people give me a hard time about the edge highlighting. I really love the way it looks personally. And, you can do as much of it or as little of it as possible. I think for metallic objects or objects that are really hard, it becomes much more of a necessity, just because they're hard objects, right? The edges tend to catch light and bounce it in a different way. So I feel like it's a bit more realistic, but, not everybody likes it. I've got a great friend, Trevarian, not a super big fan of edge highlighting. But anyway, kind of coming to the end of this this process here. Again, I really do apologize that the earlier video got corrupt. I still wanted to share this with you. I figured you guys would be awesome enough painters to kind of catch what was going on just by showing you guys those third and fourth washes there. And yeah, really all we're doing to finish up here is putting in a couple of these final little dots of, silver gold mix on the bolts. And just I'm kind of coming back here if I need to with that Gore Grunta contrast and touching up a few areas as I need to. I think there's only a couple of places, so don't be afraid if something goes too far to come back and fix it. Like we were talking about earlier, fixing up those mistakes with the edge highlighting. Really all I'm doing here is taking that Nightmare Black that we were using in the Painting Black video, and we're just using that to touch those areas up. And thin down just a little bit. If it doesn't cover the first time, it's okay, just go over it again. If you want to get really technical with it, you can get that burnt sienna and kind of do a little bit of a back and forth, just to reestablish that vibe that we are going for with the shield. But again, it's entirely up to you. You can make that as complex or as simple as you want, just like we did with the black. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this. The next thing that we're going to be working on is that little flame effect on the tassel that's there on the shield. I'm super excited to show you guys this. You guys have been asking for it. If you guys enjoyed this video, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep trying to add more videos. I'm trying to make this a one-stop shop for people who are getting into the miniature painting hobby, just because there's a lot of information and I do my very, very best to break it down, explain not only how it works, but why it works and why you should be using it. And if you love this content and you want even more content, head on over to my Patreon. You know, for about the cost of a nice cup of coffee, you can get yourself about 40 hours of fantastic video tutorials that I know you will enjoy. Thank you all for being the best part of the pirate crew. This is Anthony from Pirate Monkey Painting signing off. Till next time.